Suge just ducked his head, and the first bullet went in his head, so the next ones hit him. It was like he was doing a breakdance trying to jump in the back seat or something.
The news of KVD's arrest has ceased being a breaking story, but it continues to be a topic of intense discussion. In this video, we will delve into the individual known as Keith Edie, uncover his connections to the mysterious murder of Tupac Shakur, and reveal why Sean Puff Daddy Combs might find these developments disconcerting. Our protagonist's revelations implicate the Bad Boy Records mogul in the unsolved mystery of Tupac's death. Insights drawn directly from Keith Edis's candid interview and tell-all autobiography. Let's start by exploring the backstory of Keith Edie, also known as Dwayne Davis according to his birth record. He was a prominent figure in the Southside Compton Crips, a notorious gang deeply entrenched in the drug underworld of the early 1990s. It was within this perilous world that Edie crossed paths with the enigmatic gangster Erich von Zipp Martin, commonly referred to as Zip. It was Zip, a close associate of Puffy at the time, who facilitated the introduction between Edie and the Bad Boy Records head honcho. Back then, Puffy was an up-and-coming figure in the music industry, still relatively inexperienced. However, Edie's feelings toward Puffy have significantly changed over the years, now filled with disdain and regret as he reflects on their association. Their paths crossed once more a few months after their initial encounter, revolving around a $2,400 car rental for the renowned artist Usher's music video, Can You Get With It? Fate took another turn in the summer of 1995 when Zip invited Edie to Puffy's prestigious Beat Summer Jam event. This event's ambiance was enigmatic, and it featured the formidable presence of Suge Knight, whose rising star was being closely observed by the envious eyes of Puffy. Edie's revelation of their shared history involving drugs did little to ease the escalating tension between the two figures. This tension culminated in the iconic Source Awards, an event marked by Suge's bold revelations, serving as a prelude to the unfolding saga. Stay tuned as we delve deeper, pulling back the curtains on a narrative steeped in intrigue, betrayal, and ominous undertones that cast a long, unsettling shadow over Puff Daddy, a sentiment echoed in the revealing words of Keith Edis. Suge's declaration at the autopsy, "I want to be honest, I want to stay a star. I don't want to really have to worry about the data booth to try to be all in the videos, all on the record-covered Death Row." The once harmonious relationship between Bad Boy Records and Death Row Records disintegrated, shattered by words that proved too incendiary to ignore. The discord reached its zenith on September 23, 1995. On this fateful night, representatives from these rival labels confronted each other at a party in Atlanta, setting the stage for a colossal confrontation. Suge Knight, never one to mince words or actions, confronted Puff Daddy, unleashing physical aggression. As recounted by Keith Murray, Puffy bore the brunt of a stinging slap delivered with full force by Suge, marking a poignant climax to their escalating animosity. Determining the actual perpetrator of Tupac's murder is a complex endeavor. However, in the aftermath, mainstream media quickly pointed fingers at an individual associated with Bad Boy Records. In the turbulent aftermath of these accusations, Puff reached out to Zed, insisting on a conversation with Keith Edie. The message relayed was succinct yet ominous. "Your boy, big CEO, he's losing it," an apparent reference to Suge Knight. KVD recounted that Puff was engulfed in such trepidation that he sought the protective services of former Navy SEALs. These security personnel, outfitted with earpieces reminiscent of CIA agents, were stationed in the hotel room adjacent to Puff's, a stark testament to the palpable fear that gripped him. Following this, a covert meeting took place at a strip club where Zip and Puff engaged in a deep conversation. Keith Edie would later join this clandestine gathering. Amidst the revelry and under the club's dim lights, a sinister proposition emerged. Keith Edie was offered a staggering $1 million to orchestrate the assassinations of Suge and Tupac. Subsequently, a secretive gathering occurred in the shadows of a strip club. Zip and Puff engaged in a hushed dialogue, eventually joined by Keith Edie. As the club's atmosphere pulsed with muted lighting and echoing music, a malevolent offer surfaced from the shadows. Keith Edie was enticed with the prospect of a $1 million payday in exchange for carrying out a dark task: the eliminations of Suge and Tupac. Blues on Sunset, an unexpected encounter unfolded. Southsiders found themselves in the presence of Tupac, accompanied by Big Syke of the Outlaws. A confrontation erupted when one gang member audaciously grabbed Tupac's collar, pushing him against the wall, implying deep-seated territorial allegiance. "Man, you know what Long Beach and Rosecrans stand for?" was the provocative question. This narrative took a dramatic turn that would later be identified as the precursor to Tupac's retaliatory attack on Orlando Anderson. In the midst of this, Victor, a friend of DVD and a notable high school footballer destined for college, was to be celebrated with a send-off by Keefe. However, fate had other plans. During a visit to the mall, Victor found himself cornered by 3 members of the Pirates gang, associates of the death row crew. Unbeknownst to them, Victor was affiliated with the Southsiders. Fate, however, intervened as his allies coincidentally entered the mall, altering the dynamics of the confrontation. With the balance shifted in their favor, Victor, emboldened, signaled the commencement of an epic face-off, managing to knock out one assailant and seizing a death row records chain in the melee. This incident led to the cancellation of a shipment to the store and left an indelible mark on the rap industry. Fast forward to September 7th, 1996, where another fateful encounter awaited. Keith Edie and his entourage, along with Tupac and his crew, were spectators at a Mike Tyson match. The air was thick with unspoken tension, hinting at the unfolding drama. After the match, Keith Edie's crew moved to a predetermined location, the next chapter of this saga hanging in the eerie silence of a 15-minute anticipation. One by one, attendees arrived, with Keith Edie's nephew conspicuously absent. Anxiety surged when Keith Edie received word of an attack on his nephew. The pieces fell into place when they learned that the instigator from the Lakewood Mall, whose chain had been taken, was in Tupac's company at the moment they spotted Baby Lane, known as Orlando Anderson, in the MGM lobby. A swift confrontation ensued, with Baby Lane cornered minutes later by Suge, Tupac, and their entourage. By the time Keith Edie and his crew reached the scene, the assailants had left. Despite a minor injury to his shoulder, Baby Lane recounted the incident, emphasizing the presence of one of the individuals from the Lakewood Mall. The insult proved unbearable for Keith Edie. These figures from the music industry had humiliated his nephew. Coupled with Puff's earlier plea for assistance and Suga's apparent ingratitude for the support received during the inception of his label, a thirst for vengeance hung heavy in the air. As fate continued to shape the narrative, Keith Edie and his crew became aware of Suge and Tupac's destination, Club 662. Amid the anticipatory wait for their cars, Zipp summoned Keith Edie. Foxy Brown's presence in the car necessitated her temporary exit as Keith Edie approached. Zipp revealed a hidden compartment, retrieving a black .40 Glock. With the weapon unveiled, a sinister proposal was articulated. It was time for retribution. The wait for their targets extended to a painful 90 minutes without any sign of their appearance. Impatience led Keith Edie and his crew to the carriage house, a Las Vegas hotel, their sanctuary and designated meeting point. Rooms had been rented in anticipation of the unfolding events, and they bore silent witness to the sinister plan. Each phase of this unfolding story was a calculated move in a war fueled by rivalries, betrayals, and an unwavering quest for power and respect. The intertwined destinies of each player in this ominous game spiraled towards an inexorable climax that would reverberate through the annals of rap and gang history. Their journey to the carriage house included a stop at the liquor barn, where they picked up bottles of Dom Perignon Rosé, and Cristal. Anxiety pervaded the atmosphere inside the van with Davis, as a collective apprehension simmered about potential retaliation from Suge's police-affiliated hitmen. Keith Edie, infuriated, questioned why they would initiate a conflict if they were afraid. In a quest for solitude, Keith Edie sought refuge in another person's white Cadillac, finding solace amidst the escalating turmoil. The Glock, a gift from Zipp, was casually tossed into the back seat. Bubble Up took the wheel, with Baby Lane and Freaky as passengers. Destiny orchestrated a serendipitous encounter at a traffic light. The death row entourage, with Tupac openly engaging with his adoring crowd, was an unmissable sight. A silent survey of each luxury car in the caravan culminated in an intense face-off between Suge and Keith Edie, a silent testament to deep-seated animosities and unspoken vendettas.